Welcome to the fastest 30 minutes in football. Mark Richt, in or out? The SEC Game of the Year, LSU, Alabama. Jeffrey the Ed Schechter picks that game. Georgia, Kentucky, and Falcons 49ers, plus injuries and fantasy football. Play to Win is being brought to you by the Southeastern Nissan dealers, Mellow Mushroom Pizza Baker, and SD Services.
Welcome to Play to Win with former Falcons All-Pro defensive end Chuck Smith. Fantasy Football League previews with Adam Brown. Game analysis with Nikki Williams. Play to Win expert Jeffrey the Ed Schechter. Medical and injury update with Dr. Andrew Lalage. And your host, Atlanta sports veteran Bob Neal. Today's SEC report is being brought to you by Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota, let's go places.
All right, with Jeffrey, Nikki, and Chuck Smith, of course, we welcome you to Play to Win, football's Play to Win. And to begin with, as usual, the SEC. We got a great slate of games in the SEC this week. As a matter of fact, take a look at these. They're all SEC versus SEC teams. And down at the bottom, last but certainly not least, LSU at Alabama, number 2 and number 4, and Chuck Smith.
It's a big one.
It is big and it's close, and I'm going to have some stats on that in a second, but I want to know from you, Fournette versus the Bama D.
Well, it's going to be Fournette versus Reggie Ragland. It's going to be Fournette versus A'Shawn Robinson versus Nick Saban versus Kirby Smart. What we're calling a dynasty now defensively. Leonard Fournette has a young offense. I think Alabama has advantage. I think that's why the Tide wins this game.
All right, and they may be going after Brandon Harris, the LSU quarterback. Not maybe, they will be going after him.
They will be, but Brandon Harris, as of lately, has been kind of coming into his own. You take a look at his first 4 starts, the guy wasn't even attempting more than 17 passes. His last 3 games, he's thrown for over 200 yards in each of those games, and he's yet to throw an interception all season long. They say every championship team has a game where a quarterback has to take over. I think this may be that game for LSU.
All right, and Jeffrey's going to pick it in just a moment, but I have some things I want to tell you about this. I think it's going to be a very close game. You know, Alabama has won the last 4, and since 2005, there have been 4 overtime games, including last year that Alabama won in Baton Rouge 20-13. But if you look at it very closely this year, the turnovers are a big story. Alabama has 9 interceptions, 5 fumbles lost. LSU has no interceptions, only 2 fumbles lost, and the kickers, you know, we never talk about kickers, but Trent Domingue for LSU is 9 of 9, and Adam Griffith with Alabama is 10 of 16. I'm saying close game, look out, LSU's got a chance in this game. Probably a conservative game. Right, Nick Saban?
I don't see anybody being conservative in this game in terms of, you know, the way we played. I think the style of play, because of the way they play, it's their style. It's what they do, and they do it very, very well. And, you know, we need to do what we do very well, and I don't think being conservative is really going to help you win a game like this.
Nick disagrees with me. I can't believe that. Nick, conservative.
I don't really worry about what they say about.
He gives a clinic. It's a clinic in coach talk with Nick Saban. However, he is the best coach
He's
in
the
college
best.
football.
He is.
All right, who's going to win it? Jeffrey the Ed Schechter, tell us what's happening.
I agree with you, Bob. This game's going to be tight. We're voting in. And LSU does have a big advantage at kicker. Take the 6.5 with LSU.
All right, there you
Man,
go.
this kicker, man, against Nick
telling
Saban. Saban's boys don't need no kicker. They come and smack you in the mouth, man. Alabama's going to smash LSU.
All right, there you
It's going
go.
to smash them.
This, I don't know. I kind
Said
of
the
lean
same
toward.
thing.
We'll see. We'll see next week. We'll see next week.
Our college football showdown of the week. There's so many good games this weekend, and that's brought to you, of course, by the Georgia Lottery. And it is Florida State and Clemson. And Chuck, this is a big one. It's at Clemson. What do you think?
Man, I like this Clemson team. I like what they bring to the table. Dabo Swinney, when people talk about the great coaches in America, he needs to be right at the top of the list. I mean, his program is, A1 right now. I like them to be one of the Final Four for the national championship of college football when it's all said and done. That's
right.
how they're not losing again.
They're not losing
losing again.
Well, let's ask Jeffrey what he thinks about it with the spread. What's your pick?
I did pick Clemson to go all the way at the beginning. Clemson's going to win the game, but I like Florida State getting 12.5 points where they can keep it a little close.
Okay, I have a question for all of you. We'll try to answer when we come back. Mark Richt era at Georgia. Is it over? Next on Football's Play to Win.
We took America's best-selling car and turned everything up a notch. The Toyota Camry. What bold moves will you make? Get a low 0% APR for 60 months on a new 2016 Toyota Camry. Toyota, let's go places.
Tom, let's go. We're waiting for you outside.
Sorry, Larry. Just didn't feel the spark today. So many people that should have won but didn't play.
But this is Fantasy 5. It's even better now. There's larger starting jackpots.
And that new cash match instant win. Thanks for the pep talk.
You have got to stop bringing work home with you.
Point taken. Let's go give someone money.
You can't win if you don't play. So play the new and improved Fantasy 5, now with bigger starting jackpots and cash match.
There's nothing like spending a quiet afternoon with your pals. Organize an adult-appropriate activity, like a stroll through a museum. Always remain civil and mild-mannered, and never draw undue attention to yourself.
It's not limited edition, not cast conditioned, not exclusive or extra, nor is it private reserve. It is, however, a rare breed. American lager from an American-owned, family-operated brewery. Since 1829, we kept it so simple, we're still in fashion. Fancy that. America's oldest brewery, Yuengling.
Hometown Team Report is being brought to you by Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers, bringing a higher order of pizza to Atlanta for 40 years.
All right, Kentucky plays at Georgia today at noon. And of course, the talk leading up all week, Mark Richt, is he in? Is he out? Should he be fired? Should he stay? Chuck, your thoughts.
Well, I think what the first thing Mark Richt needs to focus on is figuring out the in-house things that are going on that are affecting the team, that are affecting the decisions, who's the quarterback, that are affecting all the different things that we're hearing now. First thing is they need to worry about what's going on inside the house before any decisions are made on Mark Richt's career. I think things need to be played out, and I think Mark Richt deserves to get to play the season out, and at that point then be evaluated by that. But there's some things in-house they need to look at as this season plays out.
A lot of dissension going on in Athens is what we're hearing with the coaches, et cetera. And Mark Richt's record going back in a short recent time, not so good.
Well, and the fans want his head, and actually some of the numbers are backing the fans up. They're saying that UGA has been on a slide under Richt since 2008, and he's 5-16 versus opponents ranked in the top 15. Georgia has only finished in the top 10 one time. That was back in 2012 when Georgia finished 5th. I want to stick up for the guy, but the numbers don't lie.
All right, and we're gonna go. You know, we always have 68 seconds with 680. Well, we got a bombastic blockbuster for you today. The entire front row, that's Steak Shapiro, Sandra Golden, Brian Finneran are on our 68 seconds with 680, and we ask them what they think about the Mark Richt situation.
In the world of sports talk radio, nothing has been bigger than the Mark Richt conversation over the last few days. What's his future at Georgia? How do you make sense of what's been a really bad year? And the question, Sandra, is Mark Richt at the end of his run?
Well, it's been a disastrous October, and I just think it's so much bigger than we should just fire everybody out the door. Be careful. I think what they're going to do and what we're hearing from inside the walls in Athens is we're going to see what happens over these last 4 games. That doesn't mean you have to go 4-0. That means has the team really kind of deaf ears now, and then the whole thing's not working. And then, Brian, I think you got to look at your coordinators, who you keep and who's going to go, and it's bigger than let's just fire him and let him all go.
I think we've seen what we need to see. I think the month of October was very telling. The loss to Alabama and then the disaster in Florida. The time has come for Mark Richt to unfortunately go another direction, and the University of Georgia needs to make a move.
All right. Will a move be made? This guy's not playing around.
I heard.
He's serious,
I guess
man.
I heard him.
Yeah, you can hear all that and more 9 to noon on 680 The Fan, and everybody has an opinion on what's happening in Athens. That's what's happening here, though, Bob.
All right, Steak Shapiro and Sandra and Brian. And
I love
want
that show.
I do too.
I listen to them almost every day when I'm home.
Good
Are you going to his party?
Yeah,
Steak's party?
Steak
I'm
Shapiro's
down
having
with
a-
Steak Shapiro, Finn, so I'm coming. Sandra, I'm coming.
He's invited all the pro athletes.
I'm going to try to come by.
I didn't get an
I wasn't
invitation. Of course,
invited.
we know why. And Jeffrey, how do you see the Rick situation?
Before you get to Rick, this team doesn't function. The offensive line is terrible. The receivers can't get free. When they get free, they drop the ball or the quarterback misses them. And then the quarterback they had last week, he pulled the quarterback out of a bottle.
Yeah. So let me ask you about the quarterbacks. Fatone Bauda is now taking snaps as a safety on the scout team, last week's starter, and that leaves Bryce Ramsey and Grayson Lambert. What about the Georgia quarterbacks?
Only bout I saw last week was he about to get sacked. But no, seriously, I think he needs to go back he needs to go back with Grayson Lambert. Figure it out between the first two that you had. But I like Grayson Lambert. Try to develop him. He gives him the best option, I think, to win.
I got to give you this. Bauda gets sacked. Okay, Jeffrey, who is going to win it?
Well, first of all, somebody asked me, should they fire him? I never advocate anybody getting fired. As my Uncle Vito told me, doesn't matter to me what a man does to make a living, as long as what he does doesn't interfere with what I do. But if you're happy, if you are happy with a 9-3 record and a trip to the Belk Bowl, Rick is your man. And they should cover the 14 against Kentucky, because Kentucky is terrible.
Okay, the college football playoff rankings came out this week, the first ones, and it's kind of interesting. Up at the top, Clemson, Alabama at number 4, and Clemson, you like them because you love Clemson over Florida State. Alabama at 4. A lot of people think somebody else should have been there, but I don't. I think they're looking pretty good to me. Imagine if they started today and Clemson played Alabama. However, Dabo Swinney says, don't get excited about the playoff poll right now. It's what matters later, right, Dabo?
The only poll we're excited about is December 6th. And I promise you, if we'll have the biggest poll party you've ever seen. We'll open up Death Valley and serve pizza to everybody and just have a poll party on December 6th. That'll be a time to celebrate a poll. But until then, it just doesn't matter because, man, you gotta earn your way there. You got to go win the games. You don't get any passes. So. Has nothing to do with where we are right now. Our focus is on trying to beat Florida State.
All right, kind of a little anger edge there.
Second, don't forget the pole dances.
Right.
The pole
A
dances,
pole
the
party.
pole dancers,
Yeah,
pole
pole
party.
party.
Watch out when you say that in Atlanta.
Especially them college boys,
and
pool
listen,
party.
You know, you could see.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Okay, Dabo, you're going to have trouble with that. You better rethink the whole party idea because you'll probably be having
Especially if it's got poles.
reason for a party. Stay with us. We come back in just a moment. We'll have fantasy football. Jeffrey's got a lot more picks to come on Football's Play to Win.
Why can't I have a slice of yours?
You're a cartoon. You can only have cartoon pizza.
It's not fair.
Look, this pie is 100% real, and you're colored ink. It's physics, man.
Well, can you buy me a beer?
I can buy you a cartoon beer. Are you single?
It's surprise.
Everyone wants real mellow mushroom pizza because our pies use premium meats and cheeses, fresh veggies, and spring water dough baked with wheat goodness. Mellow Mushroom, a higher order of pizza.
With a 100% electric Nissan Leaf, what will you do? How far will you go? How much will you see? Electrify the world. Now with a class-leading 107 miles on a charge, the Nissan Leaf is the best-selling electric car in America.
You're going to deny everything, and if you're lying through...
When you're hurt in a car wreck, the insurance company will try anything to deny your claim.
Deny, deny, deny. Whatever it takes, we're not paying a dime.
They'll stop at nothing until they run into the strong arm.
Don't let the insurance company decide what you deserve. Call me now. I'll fight so you don't have to.
Get the upper hand. Get the strong arm. Call attorney John Foy and Associates today.
Today's Fantasy Report is being brought to you by ST Services. Home comfort or plumbing issues? We can fix that.
Time to find out who's hot and who's cold with my buddy Adam Brown.
Hey, Bob.
Good work last week. He told you about Matt Ryan with the Falcons, even though the Falcons lost. Good fantasy numbers. Let's go right to quarterbacks now.
Let's look at Phillip Rivers. I have him here every week, but he has 5 300-yard games in a row, including a 500-yard game several weeks ago.
Okay, running backs. Devonta Freeman's been slumping a little, but you like him this week.
San Francisco's given up back-to-back 30-point fantasy days to running backs. I like him a lot this week. And Doug Martin, they're going up against the Giants defense that's given up 4 straight 100-yard games on the ground.
Boy, I look at all these rich guys at wide receiver. Who you like here on this list?
Let's look at the bottom one. Alshon Jeffrey's finally healthy. I have him projected for 6 receptions this week. The past 2 weeks, 18 receptions, 263, and 2 touchdowns.
Okay, now the weekly 10, your mid-level and low-level good buys, B-U-Y-S.
Yes, very much so. Let's look at C.J. Spiller, okay? C.J. Spiller, now that Kyrie Robinson's out, 12 receptions the last 3 weeks and a touchdown. Look for him to have a bigger role in the offense. And let's look at the wide receivers in San Diego. Like I said, I like Phillip Rivers. I like now Malcolm Floyd and Stevie Johnson. Keenan Allen's 15 to 18 receptions are now going to be dispersed between those two. Like them a lot this week.
This is the man who's hot and who's cold, Adam Brown. And I want to say to you, be sure and go to playingtowin.tv for our Red Pepper Taqueria You Be the Experts Challenge. You pick groups of games that we have listed in college and pro football. The winner gets a $100 gift certificate. Second place, $50. Go to playingtowin.tv. Stay with us when we come back. We will be previewing the National Football League this week.
Good luck, everyone.
Is your heating system blowing cold air? We can fix that. Turn to the experts at Carrier and ST Services. We've been installing and repairing heating and air systems in Atlanta for 66 years. Need to get warm? We can fix that.
Mall of Georgia Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has a true sign and drive lease offer you've got to see. 0 money down, 0 security deposit, and all taxes and fees are included. During Chrysler's anniversary celebration, a Chrysler 200 is only $279 per month. Get a Chrysler Town & Country for just $385 per month. And a Dodge Challenger is now $349 per month. No games, no gimmicks, no money changes hands. Sign and drive today at Mall of Georgia Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and online at yourdodge.com.
We've owned a few different houses through the years. Your company was absolutely the best. They were so professional. Everything they did, they didn't get a mark on a wall or anything else. It was clean, it was friendly, and it was fun. And most of the time, moving is not fun. I'm going to give a great recommendation to Atlanta Peach Movers. It's always on time and it's always professional. There is no tree in Atlanta Peach Movers.
To schedule your move, call Atlanta Peach Movers today.
Bad pipes, clogs, broken water heater? We can fix that. Estes Plumbing Services, your man for all seasons since 1949, will make your plumbing problems disappear. From pesky pipes to new water heaters, we can fix that.
Today's NFL Report is being brought to you by Nissan. Shop ChooseNissan.com.
All right, NFL Showdown. Falcons at San Francisco on at 4 o'clock Atlanta time tomorrow afternoon. And my opinion, Chuck Smith, is that Matt Ryan and Kyle Shanahan, the offensive coordinator, I don't think they're synced up because Matt Ryan has not been himself recently. What are you hearing about the Falcons and Matt Ryan and the offense and lack of production?
Well, I think the first thing, let's start off with Matt Ryan. The first thing it starts with feet. His mechanics are messed up right now. This is a shoe. It starts with his feet, Bob. It starts with his feet, guys. Number one, as you watch Matt Ryan, because of his footwork, he's dropping balls that normally the spacing for him behind the center, he usually makes. Also, his feet there's a philosophy as a quarterback, you take what they give you.
Yeah.
He's taking a little less and a lot more, so he's always off balance and his rhythm's not there, so he's not in synergy with the receivers. It starts with his feet. He's got to get back to the mechanics of what he does best, and it starts with your footwork and the transitions through your hips all the way through your arm.
Will you promise to never put your shoe back up? Was that your shoe, by
Check
the way?
my footwork.
Chuck's in charge. That's shoes.
That's the old Jermaine Dupri song. What up, the JD?
That shoe's longer than my arm. We're going back to San Francisco. Are you okay? Because
I have completely glazed over.
They were nice shoes, though, right? I got a compliment today for God's sake.
49ers quarterback problems or changes at quarterback.
They got a problem, all right? The Colin Kaepernick era is over in San Francisco. The Falcons have to get ready to face Blaine Gabbert, and by get ready, I mean take a nap. The guy hasn't seen any significant action since 2012, hasn't taken a snap all season. If I had a pillow, since we're doing props today, I guess, I would put it up here and I would just go to sleep.
Don't throw one of your shoes up here. God knows what that would be. Just try not to do that. Okay, Jeffrey, we need you two questions for Jeffrey. 1, Falcons playoff bound. 2, pick the game for this week at San Francisco.
2 years ago, everybody had the Falcons go to the Super Bowl. I said they're lucky if they win 8 games. Everybody thought it was crazy. Yeah, they won 4 games. Don't get mad at me. They're not going to the playoffs this year. There's too many better teams than them. I don't care about their schedule. They're not that good.
Well, I got to play the Panthers twice. I know that's one thing. Minnesota's pretty good, too.
He's high off
I think they're going to beat the Jaguars and some of the other teams. Okay, now we want to talk about another big game in the NFC South, and of course, that's the game with the Packers and Panthers. What about the Panthers with Cam Newton and the defense against him?
Well, number one, Clay Matthews Jr. is one of the best football players in football and been one of the best over a long time. He's electrifying in pass rush and coverage. To me, it's a huge mismatch for Carolina, the young interior offensive line. Clay Matthews Jr., he's one to watch. He can impact this entire game.
All right, Cam Newton. I love to watch Cam Newton. That's what I love to watch. By the way, Dr. Lalage comes along with our player medical report next. Jeffrey has more predictions. Don't go anywhere on Football's Play to Win.
With a 100% electric Nissan Leaf, what will you do? How far will you go? How much will you see? Electrify the world. Now with a class-leading 107 miles on a charge, the Nissan Leaf is the best-selling electric car in America.
The Wizard, can you make me real so I can eat real mellow mushroom pizza instead of cartoon pizza?
Stand back. Here we go. Alakazam! Wiggity stickity poof!
I'm still a cartoon.
Then that'd be a no.
Everyone wants real mellow mushroom pizza because our pies use premium meats and cheeses, fresh veggies, and spring water dough baked with wheat goodness.
Wiggity stickity poof.
Mellow mushroom, a higher order of pizza.
Tom, let's go. We're waiting for you outside.
Sorry, Larry. Just didn't feel the spark today. So many people that should have won but didn't play.
But this is Fantasy 5. It's even better now. There's larger starting jackpots.
And that new cash match instant win. Thanks for the pep talk.
You have got to stop bringing work home with you.
Point taken. Let's go give someone money.
You can't win if you don't play. So play the new and improved Fantasy 5, now with bigger starting jackpots and cash match.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, sweetie.
I'm in love.
¿Tiene novio?
Boyfriend?
It's a beautiful thing. Finally have enough space.
Por fin uno que la entiende.
He understands her, but they just met.
I'll send you a picture.
The new Toyota Corolla with the style and space you've been looking for.
Good taste.
Now get the new 2016 Corolla with 0% APR financing for 36 months. Toyota, let's go places.
Today's Player Medical and Injury Report is being brought to you by John Foy & Associates. Personal injury law. Get the strong arm.
Time for the injury report and the player medical report brought to you by John Foy & Associates. First of all, in the NFL, as you see week to week for Matt Forte, Greg Hardy is probable, and Le'Veon Bell is out for the season. That's the NFL injury report. And now let's go to Dr. A, the creator of InsideInjuries.com, and the player medical report.
It's week 8 in the NFL, and that can only mean one thing: lots and lots of injuries. Let's take a look at some of these injuries. Matt Forte, he's at A- grade at 80% low risk. Now let's take a look at his report card, because look at his previous injuries. An MCL sprain this year, however, 3 years ago an ankle sprain, and 3 years before that an MCL sprain on the other knee, and it's pretty irrelevant. Now, let's take a look back at the chart again, and you can see Andrew Luck, he went from an A to a B+, still at low risk. And let's take a look at his report card. And he's had fractured ribs this year and a shoulder injury this year, but nothing before that, so he's still pretty low risk. Now, let's take a look at the chart again, and look at Anquan Boldin. He's gone from a B+ to a B-, moving him to a moderate risk category, and now he's not so much of an easy start. Let's take a look at his report card. and he's got a hamstring strain this year and a shoulder sprain in 2012, but he's at 65%. Now, if we jump back over to the chart, again, you can see that Keenan Allen is at a C+, and now he's on injured reserve through the rest of the year. If you look at his report card, you can see he has multiple injuries now, the most severe lacerated kidney. Now, let's jump back to the chart again, and you see all these other guys, Khiry Robinson, Le'Veon Bell, and Steve Smith are all on the injured reserve list. Good luck this weekend, and follow those downgrades and upgrades, and hopefully you do well.
All right, thanks, Dr. A. Stay tuned now. Jeffrey the Edge Schechter is back in a moment with his lightning round, college and NFL.
If you've been injured, if you or a loved one have been a victim, if you've suffered, get the upper hand. Get the strong arm.
Protect your rights and get the lawyer who fights.
Thinning or balding hair? HRS can now reverse thinning hair by using stem cells through platelet-rich plasma treatments. Platelets are distributed directly to the follicle to stimulate growth. This is a safe and easy procedure with no downtime.
I decided to get a series of platelet-rich plasma treatments. Now I have my own growing hair back. The treatments were easy, painless, and I was able to return to work the same day with no downtime.
Call HRS now at 1-800-241-3837.
I know you've been waiting for it. The lightning round, Jeffrey the Edge. And let's start with college football.
Navy's going to run the wishbone, keep the Memphis offense off the field, take the 8 with Navy.
Oh, and you like Washington over Utah.
Washington's coming on. There's a good young team. Give them 1.5. Nebraska fired a decent coach to hire a terrible coach. And now they're getting what they deserve. Give the 5.5 with Michigan State.
All right, National Football League. And let's start with St. Louis at Minnesota.
I say this every week. Minnesota is solid. If I was Green Bay, I'd be very concerned about them. Give the 2.5 with Minnesota.
Oakland, Pittsburgh. You like Oakland? I like Oakland. Saw them the other night.
I got to tell you something. They're back. The new Raiders take the 4 against Pittsburgh. And I like Tampa at home against the Giants. Giants have no defense and whatever.
Who would have figured that at the beginning of the year that you'd pick Tampa Bay over the New York Giants? And here's your bonus.
Bonus pick. Green Bay got beaten up a little by Denver last week. I think they're going to get a little even with Carolina this week. Give the 2.5 with the Packers.
All right. Be sure to go to playingtowin.tv. You can see our show and a lot of things, and you can also play at the Red Pepper Taqueria. You be the experts. And by the way, for Chuck, I want to say good luck to North Gwinnett's red and black 8th grade football teams today.
Let's go, Chucky. Let's go.
All right,
let's go,
there
boys.
we go. A little plug. That's football's Play to Win. Jeffrey, Nikki, Chuck, Bob. See you next week.
You want me to pick the game?
Play to Win has been brought to you by Toyota, the Georgia Lottery, and John Foy and Associates.